While washing my girlfriend's underwear, I noticed a yellowish, burnt-looking stain on them. I held them up to my nose and sniffed, and I caught the distinct smell of cigarette smoke. But she doesn't even smoke, and I quit more than a year ago. Can someone tell me what the hell is going on? I stood there in the bathroom clutching her underwear, and my mind started spiraling. The more I thought about it, the more it didn't sit right. Just then she sent me a text. "Baby, I have to work late again tonight. Go to sleep without me." I was the one who pulled some strings to get Zhang Qian that job. As an HR assistant at a private firm, I did it so she could have an easy life. But lately she's been working late every single night, not getting home until almost 10. I didn't think much of it at first. I really thought she was just busy. But now something felt wrong, very, very wrong. I suppressed my rage and texted her back. "What time do you finish? I'll come pick you up." "Oh, no need, babe. You know how it is. It's the end of the year and we're swamped. I have no idea when I'll be done." I immediately changed my clothes, grabbed my keys, and drove straight to her office. The lights were still on. I stood by the entrance and could hear muffled voices coming from inside. I didn't just barge in, though. I pulled out my phone and called her. "I'm worried about you coming home alone. I'll wait for you downstairs." "Wait, what? Didn't I say you didn't have to come?" "It's fine, honey. I'm already outside the building." "What are you? Are you really here? Why did you come?" Hearing the sheer panic in her voice, I didn't say another word. I hung up and ducked into the stairwell. A few minutes later, Zhang Qian walked out. A man in a business suit was right behind her. They walked to the elevator and immediately started all over each other, sharing a long, lingering goodbye kiss. The man was kissing her and pulling close, his hands wandering all over her body. Seeing this made my blood boil. I wanted to storm out right then and there and scare the hell out of both of them, but then I heard the man laugh. "Your boyfriend sure is devoted, isn't he?" Don't even talk about him. He's like a piece of gum you can't shake off. Such a buzzkill since he's waiting downstairs. Should we keep going? What are you thinking? He could come up here any minute. Remember last time he called? We tried it then, didn't we? What's there to be afraid of? Oh, you're so bad I hate you. That's when it finally clicked. It turned out I had been part of their sick little game all along. Then the man turned around. I recognized him from the company photos Zhang Qian posted on social media. This guy was the Vice President Wang Peng. He looked like a professional, but he was a total dog. And from the way he spoke, he clearly got a kick out of making a fool out of me. If I went out there now to confront them and start a huge fight, just to break up with her, that would be way too easy on them. At that moment, a plan for revenge began to form in my mind. Before she stepped into the elevator, I managed to snap a photo of them holding hands. By the time I got downstairs, she was already waiting by my car. I acted like I knew nothing. I walked up to her and said, "I thought you'd be a lot longer." "Oh, I just had to use the restroom on the first floor. We finished early, I guess." "Hurry up and open the door, I'm freezing out here." The whole way there, he pretended to be exhausted and just kept his eyes closed to rest. Fine by me, I didn't feel like talking to him anyway. That night, I waited until he was asleep and snuck a look at his phone. That's when I found out they'd been messing around for months. Zhangsha started at that company in June, and by August, she was already getting cozy with Wang Peng. Not long ago, those two finally climbed, using overtime as an excuse to have an affair at the office. And while those two lowlifes were busy getting it on, I was at home like a total idiot cooking for Jiangxi, doing her laundry, worrying she was working too hard or that she wouldn't be safe on her way home, dreaming about our life after we got married. But here's what she told Wang Peng on WeChat. "He never suspects a thing, and I don't even have to spend any money on him. What's so great about that old hag of yours? She's old and boring. Just leave her. If you get a divorce, I'll break up with my guy." I couldn't believe those words came from the person lying next to me. But there it was, thousands of messages, each one hitting me like a whip. Jiangshu was right. Until today, I never doubted her. I never questioned where she was going or checked her phone. Is that why she felt so safe? So bold that she didn't even bother to delete the messages at her sleeping there. And suddenly she just looked so filthy it made me sick to my stomach. The next morning, Jiangshu's phone rang while she was putting on her makeup. She picked it up so casually. "Hello, Mr. Wang, is something wrong?" "Understood, I'll try to get there early to go over it with you." "Problems at work?" "Yeah, my boss is pressuring me to get in early. What can I do? It's the end of the year, things are crazy. I'll probably have to stay late again today." I watched her apply that bright, heavy makeup and slip into a tight pencil skirt. I pretended to be concerned and said, "Maybe I should find someone to help you get a different job. I hate seeing you so exhausted." Jiangshu shot it down immediately, saying she wanted to work hard while she was still young. Plus, she said I'd already used up a favor to get her this one, so it'd be bad if she just quit. As she headed for the door, she tried to kiss me, but knowing she used that mouth last night to kiss that Wang Peng guy, I quickly dodged her by pretending to look for something. From the chat logs last night, I knew they had a code for when they called. If I was around, he was Mr. Wang. If I wasn't, she'd call him darling, baby, or hubby. Jiangshu even called him daddy on WeChat. You can only imagine how twisted things got between them. And this Wang Peng guy, he obviously chose that specific time to call on purpose. Maybe flirting right in front of me. Actually gave them some kind of sick thrill, since they love playing games so much. Then I'll play along until the very end. I decided to dig into Wang Peng's background. Turns out, not only does this jerk have a wife, he's got 2 kids. After his wife had the children, she quit her job to stay home and focus on the family. I paid someone to tail him for a while, and I found out this scumbag was still seeing his ex-girlfriend, who was also married. They were still keeping it going. Every time they met, they went straight to a hotel. I gathered all the evidence, and after a little more digging, I tracked down his family's contact info, his ex's, and even her husband's number. One day, Jiangshu lied to me again about staying late, and I just sent back a cold, flat reply, "Okay, don't forget to eat." I'd be so heartbroken if you went hungry. You'd better eat your dinner like a good boy, honey. That night, I drove outside their office and used a burner phone I'd prepared. I sent a text to Wang Peng's wife. "Does your husband always tell you he's working late? You should really pay attention. Don't be the last one to know like a fool. Some people are having way too much fun crawling back to their exes." She called back almost instantly. But I hung up. She had no choice but to text me, "Who is this? What exactly is that supposed to mean? He has an ex-girlfriend he was with for a long time, right?" After I sent that last reply, I stopped responding no matter how many more questions she asked. After all, for a woman who pours her entire heart and soul into her family, planting just a tiny seed of doubt about her husband is more than enough. I waited calmly in the car, and sure enough, Wang Peng came downstairs a few minutes later. He looked terrified, sprinting toward the parking lot, clutching his phone and desperately trying to explain something. Jiangxi followed behind him with a sour look on her face. Seeing her follow him out, I floored the gas and drove off feeling satisfied. Wang Peng's wife might just be a housewife, but she's definitely no pushover. Her parents run a local business, and she has 2 older brothers looking out for her. She's been spoiled since she was a kid, and they say she's got a real fiery temper. Wang Peng was already being messy with his ex, so my little tip-off was going to make things very ugly once his wife started digging. He really kept a low profile after that. Not only did he come home right after work every day, but he also stopped those late-night flirty chats with Jiangxi. This drove Jiangxi crazy, like every mistress trying to climb her way up. She bombarded him with messages asking what was so great about being controlled by that woman. "Why won't you come see me? She's just an old mean hag. Am I not 100 times better than her but Wang Peng? He's the kind of guy who only got ahead by riding his father-in-law's coattails. To him, home is home and play is play. He knows exactly which side his bread is buttered on." To mess with Jiangxi even more, I did a complete 180-degree turn with my attitude toward him. Whether we were arguing or just bickering, I stopped backing down. I often got him so worked up he was red in the face. "How dare you yell at me? Everything nice you did for me before was a lot. Men are all the same. Once you have me, you stop caring." I just let him lose his mind. I didn't even bother trying to calm him down. I just shrugged and said, "Think whatever you want." My little stunt made Jiangxi even more vengeful. She'd spam Wang Peng with messages while I was asleep. She even threatened him, saying if he kept ignoring her, she'd go nuclear and confront his wife face to face. That terrified Wang Peng. Plus, after being under his wife's thumb for a while, he was really starting to feel the itch. So the two of them cooked up a plan, a business trip. Wang Peng burst through the door and headed straight for the bedroom to pack. "Honey, the company just scheduled some last-minute HR training, so I have to go out of town tomorrow." "For how many days?" "I'll be back in 2 days. Babe, did you forget tomorrow is Saturday? We were supposed to have dinner with your parents." "We can eat dinner anytime, can't we?" I could pass up this training opportunity while watching Wang Peng scramble to pack. I found the hotel reservation in his text messages. The next day, Wang Peng wouldn't let me drive him to the high-speed rail station. I didn't push it, but once he was gone, I didn't just sit around. I picked up a few gifts and headed over to Jiangshu's parents' place. It's less than a 2-hour drive from the city. Her parents don't really have steady jobs, and then there's her brother who's also unemployed. Spending all day doing nothing but playing video games. "Sir, ma'am, Jiangshu doesn't know I'm here today. The truth is, I'm planning to propose to her." Now, Chen Yu and Jiangshu have been together for over a year. It's only natural to start talking about marriage. But marriage is a big deal. I know it takes both families sitting down and working things out properly. Don't you worry, Jiangxi is a wonderful girl. My family will definitely show our commitment to make her part of ours. Her eyes swept over the gifts I'd brought, taking everything in. As parents, we don't ask for much. We just want our daughter to marry into a sensible, well-off family. Actually, her parents had asked her more than once exactly how much of a bride price my family could offer. I'd already done some digging. Around here, the typical bride price is about $60,000. $688,000 isn't unheard of, but for the sake of their deadbeat son, they were looking to really bleed me dry. You're absolutely right, sir. You and ma'am can rest easy. My family's offer will be much higher than anyone else's. I'll make sure Jiangxi feels more than taken care of. After hearing my vague promise, her father cleared his throat, then her mother chimed in, now Chen. Our daughter has a college degree and she's beautiful. You realize that, right? Even when I tell people she has a boyfriend, matchmakers are still knocking on our door one after another. The neighbor's daughter got married just last month. Can't even compare to Jiangxi, and the groom still gave $500,000. Ma'am, I'm planning on $888,000. Her mother nearly jumped out of her seat. Her father was mid-sip and almost choked. Chen, are you serious? Do your parents agree with this? Yes, I've discussed it with them. And they're all for it. I could see the greed lighting up their faces. Oh, look at me. Chen's been here all this time and I haven't even poured him a cup of tea. Ma'am, I'm not done yet about the house I'm living in. My parents paid for it in full and I'm going to add Jiangxi's name to the deed. When Jiangxi marries me, I want her to feel completely secure. The moment I said that, they were so thrilled they didn't even know what to say. What are you just standing there for? Go wash some fruit for Chen. I could hear the sound of video games coming from the bedroom. I knew it was that useless brother of hers, A Yong. Sir, ma'am, I was thinking it's not really good for A Yong to just stay home all day. Ugh, that boy. He turns his nose up at every job we find him. The easy ones don't pay enough and the high-paying ones are too much work. He just stays home and drives us crazy. A friend of mine just started a company and he needs a driver. It's just driving clients around and the pay is nearly $10,000 a month. How about I ask him for A Yong? The work is easy, the pay is great. And the hours are flexible, what do you think? The second they heard that, they grabbed my hand and wouldn't let go. Really? Chen, if you can make this happen, you're solving the biggest headache we have. I told his father that you were the one leaving Jiangxi in your hands is the best decision we could make. You really are a dependable young man, but when you called Jiangxi back for that blind date, that's not exactly what you said, was it? Then Jiangxi's parents practically begged me to stay for dinner, but I politely declined. After all, my schedule is slammed. I've got some real business to take care of. It was 10 p.m. when I finally pulled up to the hotel Jiangxi booked. The investigator I hired had sent me the room number the second she checked in that afternoon. Room 8402. I forwarded that number to someone else. Look, buddy, this is as much as I can do for you. Half an hour later, a man in glasses and a huge guy walked into the hotel. I hid by the stairs watching the guy in glasses pretend to be room service. He knocked on the door to 8402. The moment it opened, the big guy kicked his way in. Right away, Jiangxi's terrified scream pierced the air. It wasn't even that late yet. Plenty of people were still awake and rushed out to see the drama. I blended into the crowd to film it. Wang Peng and Jiangxi were half naked and looked completely panicked. The big guy was massive. He pinned Wang Peng down, breaking a sweat. Then the guy in glasses suddenly pulled out a baseball bat. You think you can screw around with my wife? I'm gonna finish you tonight. The bat slammed hard into Wang Peng's stomach. He let out a gut-wrenching scream and collapsed. Ouch, even hearing it hurt, but watching it, that felt damn good. Everyone outside was just there for the show. No one dared to step in and stop it. Besides, the crowd these days knows what's up, a scene like this. Anyone would see it was a classic caught-in-the-act cheating drama. They were happy to keep watching. Wang Peng's nose was gushing blood. Jiangxi was tucked in the corner screaming her head off. She was panicking, trying to wrap a towel around herself. She watched as Wang Peng was beaten to the ground. He was curled up like a ball not moving. With a trembling voice, she threatened, "Who are you people? If you touch him again, I'm calling the cops. Go ahead, when the police get here. I'll just tell them this guy was hiring a hooker. This man has a wife and kids at home. Are you his wife, are you? Because if you were, you would have called them already." The guy in glasses shut Jiangxi up real quick. Wang Peng, face down on the floor, panicked at the mention of the police. He managed to choke out, "No, don't call the cops." The crowd got even more hyped hearing that. Someone whispered, "He's too scared to call the police." Definitely a cheater. Jiangxi was humiliated and furious. But since she didn't have any clothes on, she could only stay hunched in the corner. She pulled the sheets and blankets over herself. This guy wasn't just a stranger. He was the husband of Wang Peng's ex-girlfriend, a man who was just as miserable as I was. Yesterday, I sent him the photos of Wang Peng and his ex at the hotel. I told him if he wanted to blow off some steam, I could help him out as long as he didn't kill the guy. I promised him Wang Peng wouldn't dare call the police, and that's how we got here. Wang Peng definitely doesn't want this going public, or the business trip lie he told his wife is dead. Not to mention cheating with 2 women at once would absolutely ruin him. His whole life would be a mess once the guy in glasses had enough. He grabbed Wang Peng's chin and made him promise to never contact the ex again. Only then did he let him go. Seeing Wang Peng on his knees begging for mercy was so satisfying. Sunday morning, Zhang Shu dragged her suitcase back home. She looked exhausted. There was a red mark on her neck. It was incredibly obvious. Baby, you're home already. Why didn't you tell me? I would have picked you up. I acted like I didn't have a clue. Zhang Shu lied right to my face without blinking. She said the training was cut down to 1 day. The most important thing is that I missed you so much, so I rushed back as fast as I could. I glanced at her neck and asked, "What happened there? Is it an allergic reaction?" I went for some scraping therapy with a colleague and it ended up looking like this. I'm so frustrated about it. If I had known, I never would have gone. Scraping, only she could come up with an excuse like that. I noticed it last night. Wang Peng had left a hickey on Zhang Shu's neck. I was actually curious to see how Zhang Shu would try to lie her way out of it, but I didn't expect her to use scraping to cover it up. Zhang Shu chatted with me for a bit, then made an excuse to take a shower. Taking her phone with her into the bathroom, she was actually checking on her lover's injuries. But I kept my cool and didn't expose her. Their carefully planned secret tryst had gone horribly wrong, and Wang Peng was scared shitless. He turned into a total coward and crawled back into his shell. At the office, he didn't dare say a word to Zhang Shu, terrified that someone might notice something. After all, he still doesn't know who was the one that snitched about him and his ex-girlfriend. Wang Peng even talked Zhang Shu into deleting all their chat logs from her phone. But luckily, I had already backed everything up because of Wang Peng's cowardly retreat. Zhang Shu was pissed off again. She thought she had successfully stolen this man, only for him to go running back to his family. What mistress could ever be okay with that? When I was talking to Zhang Shi, I intentionally brought up seeing Wang Peng hugging his wife. "I think I saw your VP on the street today," I told her. "He was holding his wife so tenderly. He really seems like such a devoted husband." I went all out praising Wang Peng's wife, talking about how elegant and class she is, and how Wang Peng takes such good care of her like he's the perfect husband. Zhang Shu's face was twitching with pure rage, but she couldn't afford anything slip in front of me. So she kept blowing up Wang Peng's phone on WeChat. "How much longer do I have to wait? I don't want to keep hiding anymore." A few days after the confrontation, Zhang Shu's company gala was coming up. It was being held at a 5-star hotel, and she had a solo singing performance. I volunteered my help, telling her I'd handle the background video for her stage performance. The day before the gala, I called Zhang Shu's parents. "Mr. and Mrs. Zhang, I'm planning to propose to her tomorrow. Could you two come and be there to witness it?" "Of course, no problem at all. I want to give her a huge surprise, so please don't let it slip." "Ha ha ha, we definitely won't. Oh, by the way, Chen, I've been so busy I forgot to tell you about Zhang Yong's job situation. My friend said he'd do it as a favor to me. After all, Zhang Yong is my future brother-in-law, so he's basically like my own brother, right? Oh, Chen, we knew we could count on you. We'll bring the boy over to thank you properly another day." Zhang Shu's parents couldn't thank me enough, and I just told them we're all family now. So it's only right. From the very beginning, I only emphasized one single point, that Zhang Shu and I were getting married. That's why helping Zhang Yang made sense. In other words, if I don't end up marrying Zhang Shi, then her brother has absolutely nothing to do with me. Her parents were drowning in joy, practically wishing we'd get married this second. I even heard that lately they've started taking her brother out to look at houses. Go ahead and celebrate. The happier you are now, the more devastating the truth will feel later. Your precious daughter is the one who brought all of this on you. The next day, Zhang Qian got up early and spent 2 hours on her hair and makeup, then she put on that expensive battle dress of hers and headed out. I didn't even have to ask to know what she was thinking. At his company's annual gala, all the high-level executives bring their families. Zhang Qian was going all out, determined to go head-to-head with Wang Peng's wife and take her down. I dropped Zhang Qian off at the hotel, and then I secretly snuck in too. The hotel lobby wasn't that big, so I hid in the most remote corner and pretended to be on the phone. The staff just assumed I was with the company, so no one asked me any questions. Once the gala officially started, the CEO and the VPs took turns going up on stage to give their speeches. When it was Wang Peng's turn, I sent his wife a text. "Director Gao, A man this successful deserves a better woman. When the feelings are gone, they're gone. You think forced love is ever sweet? He held me and told me that you're just a shrill, boring old hag. I actually felt sorry for you. I'm performing today and I hope you keep your eyes wide open. See whether you or I am a better match for him. Wang Peng's wife had been happily holding up her phone to record him, but as soon as she saw that text, her face completely dropped. Sorry about that, but I didn't make any of this up. These were the exact words Wang Peng and Jiang Qian sent to each other on WeChat, and it really is exactly what Jiang Qian is thinking right now. When Wang Peng got off stage, he seemed to notice his wife's mood had soured and asked her what was wrong. She just sat there with a cold face, not saying a word, just staring daggers at every young girl who went up on stage to perform. Right then my phone rang. It was Jiang Qian's parents. Right. Uncle, you guys can just come straight in. I'm right by the lobby entrance. Jiang Qian's parents were there and Liu Yang was with them. Liu Yang knew I'd helped him find a cushy high-paying job, so he was beaming when he saw me. He was calling me brother-in-law every chance he got, something he'd never done before. That kid has never respected me deep down. Otherwise, when I went to his house last time, he wouldn't have hidden in his room the whole time. Jiang Shu's performance was about to start, and as soon as it's over, I'm going to jump on stage and propose. Everyone in the company is going to help. Finally, it was Jiang Shu's turn to perform. When she walked out, the stage lights instantly turned soft and romantic with her flawless makeup. And that off-the-shoulder gown showing off her collarbone, she looked absolutely stunning and high class. There was a collective gasp of awe from the crowd, followed by an explosion of cheers and applause. Jiang Shu looked straight at Wang Peng at the front table, her eyes full of defiance. It was like she was saying, "See, I'm young and beautiful. Can that old woman next to you even compare?" I crossed my arms, my heart racing with excitement. This is it. The moment is finally here. The big screen started playing the video after a short intro. The beautiful background music kicked in. Jiang Shu picked up the mic and started to sing, getting completely lost in her performance. She didn't notice the look on everyone's faces change. That's right, I swapped the video. I kept the music, but I replaced the visuals with the footage of her and Wang Peng in that hotel room. In the video, a man in nothing but his boxers was getting beaten so hard he couldn't even stand. A woman also half-dressed was screaming in panic as the camera caught them red-handed in the act. And on that massive LED screen, it was absolutely devastating. Jiang Shi's parents stood beside me completely frozen in shock. Liu Yang was the first to speak. "Wait, isn't that my sister? She actually went to a hotel with someone." "Shut your mouth," his mom hissed, cutting him off instantly. Before turning to look at me, is full of panic. "Chen, that's definitely not Jiang Shu. She's my own daughter. I would know if it was her." "It's absolutely not her," but Liu Yang, being a complete idiot, kept running his mouth. "How is it not her? It's..." He was cut short by a sharp silencing glare from his father. I tuned them out, acting like I was in a total state of shock and confusion. Of course it was all an act. "Chen!" Her father's voice was actually trembling. "There must be some kind of misunderstanding here." Meanwhile, that scumbag Wang Peng was still sitting there, mouth hanging open as he stared at the giant screen, his eyes looking like they were about to pop out of his head. Up on stage, Jiang Shu saw Wang Peng's expression and probably thought he was just completely mesmerized by her beauty because she looked more smug by the second. But the big bosses and leaders in the front row, their faces looked like they had just swallowed a pile of garbage. Some people in the back started let out some nasty catcalls. As she kept singing, Jiang Shi finally realized something was wrong. The crowd wasn't even looking at her anymore. They were all staring at the screen behind her. She slowly turned around just as the camera caught a close-up of her, looking like a total mess with her hair all over the place. Jiang Shu froze on the spot. The microphone slipped from her hand and hit the floor with a deafening screech. I put on my best heartbroken face. "Uncle, can you really tell me that's not Jiang Shu now?" Her parents were speechless, looking so ashamed they wanted to sink through the floor. Right then, every single eye in the room was fixed on Jiang Shu and Wang Peng, and most importantly, on Wang Peng's wife. Wang Peng was acting like a pathetic dog begging for its life. He was practically on his knees in front of his wife. "Honey, it's not what it looks like. Let me explain." His wife was eerily calm for the moment. You couldn't even tell how angry she was from her voice. "So this is what you meant when you promised me you'd never mess around. But let's be real, what woman sees a video of her husband at a hotel and doesn't lose her mind? This was just the quiet before the storm. Honey, let's just go home. I'll explain everything at home, okay? An ex-girlfriend wasn't enough for you, now you're hooking up with some office tramp. No wonder you're always working late. Honey, I swear I would never betray you." Wang Peng's pathetic attempt to lie, even with the evidence right there, finally pushed his wife over the edge. She slammed her hand on the table and stood up, pointing right at his face. You say one more word and see what happens. I'm gonna deal with that slut first, then I'm coming for you. Yes. Finally, the real wife was showing her teeth. This is how it should be. If I weren't standing right next to Jiangshu's parents, I would have cheered out loud, since the high-level execs were closest to the stage. Huan only had to take a few steps to charge up there. Jiangshu backed away in terror. But she was too slow and got grabbed by her hair. I mean, what wife wouldn't want to kill the mistress in a moment like this? Especially since in the wife's eyes, this whole video was probably Jiangshu's idea. To provoke her during the performance, she wound up and threw a heavy punch right at Jiangshu's face. That's right, a punch. Most women just go for a slap. But this lady was on a different level. Her fist was a total blur. I'm starting to think she's a trained boxer. You bitch! You like being a homewrecker that much. You can't even sing a song without acting like a cat in heat. I'm gonna teach you a lesson today so you know exactly who you're messing with. You think I'm blind? You really think you can just seduce my husband? I will end you, you little bitch, you hear me? Jiangshu screamed out in agony. She could only shield her face with her arms, completely unable to fight back. Between the people rushing up to stop the fight, the crowd shouting, those filming and the ones just there for the drama, the whole place was a total disaster. By the time the crowd finally pulled them apart, Jiangshu's face had been beaten to a pulp. Her mother was humiliated, but at that point she had no choice but to go over and protect her daughter. Between the brutal beating and the absolute humiliation, Jiangshu completely lost her mind. With bloodshot eyes, she screamed hysterically at Wang Peng's wife, "Fine, then let's just lay it all out right here, right now. He doesn't love you anymore. You get that it's over. You two are going to get a divorce sooner or later anyway. You just happened to give him 2 kids. You really think you're special. What else do you actually have to offer?" Wang Peng growled, "You're nothing." Before he could even finish, Jiangshu was slammed heavily to the ground. Everyone froze in shock. Wang Peng had actually slapped Jiangshu hard across the face. He pointed at her and cursed, "You filthy slut! You've been harassing me since the day you started working here. You even tricked me into going to that hotel. Let me tell you something right now. The only woman I have ever loved in my life is my wife. You think you're something special. You're not even fit to stand in her shadow." Wang Peng's eyes were cold and lethal, like he was ready to kill someone. "I'm warning you, if you ever try to destroy my family again. I don't care if I lose this job, I will make sure you and your entire family never have another peaceful day." Jiangshu was frozen. She looked at her lover in utter disbelief. Her mouth hung open, but she couldn't squeeze out a single word. Just moments before they went on stage, the two of them were still making eyes at each other, flirting in secret. But she never imagined that when things got real with his wife, she wouldn't mean a damn thing to him. Wang Peng's final words were a direct, cold-blooded threat. Wang Peng turned and desperately begged his wife, "Honey, please, can we just go home? I'm begging you, okay?" Heh, I worked way too hard to set this trap. You think I'm just going to let her walk away? I'd watched the show long enough. It was finally my turn to take the stage. I took a second to get into character, grabbed the bouquet I'd prepared and ran onto the stage, putting every ounce of strength I had into a punch straight to Wang Peng's face. I'd been holding that one in for a long time. He didn't see it coming at all, stumbling back before collapsing onto the ground. He spat out a mouthful of blood along with one of his front teeth. I had picked Zhang Qian up from her office so many times that half the people in her company knew who I was. To them, that punch looked perfectly justified. I looked at Zhang Qian with a face full of heartbreak. "I was going to propose to you today, but I never imagined you'd be lying to me for this long. What does this married man have that I don't? Tell me, tell me." I let out a roar that was half fake, half furious. Zhang Qian was terrified and guilt-ridden. She just broke down in tears. Her hair was a mess, her makeup was ruined, and her face was swollen. I threw the bouquet at her with everything I had and left her with one final word. "Zhang Qian, we're done." As I walked out, I finally let out a long breath. All those days of holding it in were finally over. I felt amazing. Whatever Wang Peng and Zhang Qian have to deal with now, they brought it on themselves. I still had one last thing to do. I took everything I'd collected and packaged it all up. I had the hotel receipts of Wang Peng with his ex-friend, the hotel receipts of Wang Peng with Zhang Qian. I had months of their history. Over 1,000 dirty WeChat messages, and even the full-length video of them getting caught red-handed on their business trip. One copy for Wang Peng's wife, and for the rest, I already had a plan. One copy for his parents, and one for every single person at the office. I copied all the emails from the work account on Zhang Xi's tablet. I wanted to make sure both the victim's family and the gossip-hungry crowd got their fill. I don't care if his wife leaves him or not, but I'm going to make sure that scumbag is totally ruined. I never thought after years of reading online drama I'd be making a damn PowerPoint because I got cheated on. Once I was done with all that, I had a beautiful sleep. Early the next morning, Jung-See's mom dragged her over to my place. But I wouldn't even let them through the door. Her parents actually had the nerve to beg for her. Honey, you and our daughter have been together so long. You two have real feelings for each other. Please don't do anything rash. I just stood there with a stone-cold face. Ma'am, since you're here, let's just set the record straight. I really thought we were going to be family, that we'd have each other's backs. I thought I was getting a second set of parents and a brother. But now, between me and Jung-See, it's over. For good. Chen, please just calm down and think about this, okay? Jang-See's learned her lesson. If you're still angry, you can do whatever you want to her yell scream just as long as you get it out of your system. Jung-See yelled out in protest, "Dad!" Her face was even more swollen than yesterday. Her eyes were red and puffy from crying. She looked hideous. I didn't feel a single ounce of sympathy. Sir, don't waste your breath. You're a man too. If you were in my shoes, would you just take this lying down? I've already packed her. You might as well take them all back now. This place isn't a landfill, and I don't keep trash around here. My words cut deep. Jung-See started shaking, then glared at me with pure rage. I didn't even give her the time of day. What did I say, something that wasn't true? I hauled her suitcase out the door and slammed it shut without another word. Knowing there was no going back, her father started screaming at her right there in the hallway. You useless brat, look what you've done! Your mother and I worked ourselves to the bone for your wedding, and now she's lost her job. You've humiliated us and your brother. His job, his house, everything is gone because of you, you shameless girl. $500,000 in dowry. He was even going to put your name on the deed. Where are you going to find another man like that? Now what are we supposed to do? What? Jung-See screamed back. You just wanted a house for your son. What does that have to do with me? Only pushed me to find a rich guy so you could bleed me dry for him. And now you're playing the loving parent. Stop lying. How dare you? Don't you talk to your father like that? The sound of hitting and crying filled the air. Honey, stop hitting her. People will see. Let's just go home, but get the hell away from me. I don't have a daughter anymore. I watched the security camera and actually laughed out loud. When I was selling her parents on that dream life, this was exactly the moment I was aiming for. The bigger the promise I made, the more they'd despise their own daughter when it all fell apart. Wang Peng wasn't doing any better. He was scrambling to deal with his wife, while trying to act like nothing happened at work. But everywhere he went, people were whispering and pointing. He couldn't take it anymore. He really couldn't take it anymore. He had to pack his bags and get lost. His wife filed for divorce immediately, demanding he absolutely nothing. She kept both of the kids. Wang Peng still had to pay a massive amount in child support every month, after begging for mercy to no avail. He originally refused to walk away penniless and was ready to fight it out in court over the assets. Instead, his parents nearly beat him to death. They were retired university professors, and had always been very upright people, seeing their own son do something so shameful and disgusting. They didn't protect him at all. They readily agreed to every single one of their daughter-in-law's demands. The old couple only hoped they could still see their grandkids often. Just then, Jung-See pulled another insane stunt. Her parents had assumed that by using the $500,000 in dowry money from my family plus their own savings, it would be enough for a down payment on a house for their son. Lo Yong's salary would cover the mortgage. So they rushed to look at houses and even put down a deposit. Who would have thought I'd break up with Jung-See? All their plans went up in smoke. But if they didn't buy the house, that $100,000 deposit would be gone forever. They had to beg and borrow from everyone just to scrape together the down payment. In that family, Jung-See was hell-bent on climbing the social ladder. Her parents were determined to get that house for their son. Everyone had lost their sense of shame. They actually came up with the stupid idea to have Jung-See fake a pregnancy. Wang Peng had been avoiding her. So Jung-See actually took a fake pregnancy test and went to his parents' house to cause a scene. Wang Peng's mother fainted from rage, and after calling an ambulance, his father called the cops. In front of the police, how could Jung-See dare to keep lying? She had to confess everything, admitting the whole pregnancy was a total lie. Every single lie was finally exposed. The fact that she wasn't pregnant at all was laid bare. Wang Peng was already fuming about his wife taking everything in the divorce. Once he found out about this, he took a group of guys to Jung-See's house and trashed the place. Jung-See's parents were furious too and called the police. It was a total dog-eat-dog mess. A real masterpiece of a drama. I enjoyed the show for a long time. One night, Jung-See must have lost her mind, because she actually called to scream at me. Xiao Chen, who do you think you are? How dare you? Talk to me like that. So what if I cheated on you? Wang Peng and I did it way more than just that one time at the hotel. You pathetic simp, you didn't even know, did you? I answered calmly. Oh, you mean the overtime? Those records of you working overtime with manager Gao, I'm the one who mass emailed them to the company's work group. I just wanted all your colleagues to see how dedicated you two are to your jobs. Zhang Shu was stunned on the other end. She didn't say a word a long time. She hissed through her teeth, Xiao Chen, it was you I hung up before she could finish. Then I blocked her. She was always so arrogant, thinking she could keep me her little simp dancing on her finger. Now that she knows the truth, she's probably coughing up blood in rage. Karma is a bitch, and if the universe won't handle her, I will. I didn't let my guard down after hanging up. I knew exactly what kind of people that family was. Sure enough, just 2 days later, the narrative shifted. An article started blowing up. On the local city forums, the headline was "Sensational 8 years of my youth wasted on a dog." It claimed to expose a controlling scumbag who was driving his ex-girlfriend to her death. In the article, Zhang Shu painted herself as a poor innocent soul who suffered everything for love. She claimed she worked hard but was tormented in every possible way by her incredibly controlling boyfriend. Long-term mental exhaustion. As for that video of him cheating, he actually had the nerve to flip the script. He's claiming I used AI deepfake technology to fabricate the whole thing. He says I'm just a bitter, scorned woman acting out because he tried to break up with me. According to him, I'm trying to destroy his reputation and career. He even posted a photo of himself looking all bruised up, with this terrified look in his eyes. But I know exactly where those marks came from. Wang Peng's wife gave him those at the company party. Now he's spinning it as hard evidence of me abusing him. The commenters who don't know any better are totally falling for it. Everyone's all riled up saying things like, "A guy who spreads lies to ruin a girl's life deserves to rot in hell." It's terrifying how fast people turn. "This man is disgusting. If he can't have her, he destroys her." Reading those comments, I just had to laugh. Zhang thinks he can use public opinion to stage a comeback. Not only is he trying to wash his hands clean, but he's also trying to bite back and extort me for money, since he wants to play big. I'll give him exactly what he's asking for over the next few days. Zhang Esi's family saw that I wasn't reacting. They took my silence for fear and their demands got even bolder. Friday night, I had just pulled my car into the garage when I saw several shadows lunge out from the dark. It was Zhang Si and his entire family of 4. Zhang Esi's face was still bruised, but he'd put on some delicate makeup to make himself look even more pitiful. His useless younger brother Zhang Yang was holding up a phone, actually live streaming the whole thing right in my face. "Look everyone, it's her. This is the piece of trash. She's the one who made my sister lose her job. And now she's trying to play dead." Jiang Si's mother rushed forward trying to grab my arm, but I coldly stepped aside. She immediately threw herself onto the ground, slapping her thighs and wailing, "There's no justice! You toyed with my daughter's heart! And now that you've pushed her to the edge, you're just gonna walk away. Everyone look at this woman." Quite a few neighbors coming home from work stopped to watch, whispering and pointing fingers. I looked at their clumsy amateur performance, feeling absolutely nothing. Honestly, I almost wanted to laugh. I straightened my collar and looked calmly at Zhang Si. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" Zhang Si's eyes were red, playing the victim perfectly. "Xiao Chen, I'm not asking for much. If you want to break up, fine, I accept that. But you faked that video to ruin my reputation and got me fired from my company. How are you going to settle that debt? I'm a reasonable person. So pay me for my pain and suffering and the years of my life you wasted. $1 million. Pay up and we're done. Otherwise, I'll make sure you can't show your face in this town again." $1 million? I raised an eyebrow. Is the down payment on your new house that overdue? Or is Zhang Yong's debt to those loan sharks getting that desperate? Zhang Yong's face went pale like a cat that just got its tail stepped on. "You're full of it. This has nothing to do with me. Just give us the money. Otherwise, I'll come here every single day and block you at your office too." Zhang Si's father walked up with a dark expression trying to play the wise elder. "Xiao Chen, don't burn your bridges, even though you're the one who wronged Zhang Si. We aren't asking for much. $1 million is pocket change for a family like yours. You give us the money and delete the original video, and we'll act like we never met. Don't forget, people with nothing to lose aren't afraid of people like you." So that was the plan all along. Public pressure and real-life harassment. To bet that I'd pay them off just to save face. Too bad for them, they picked the wrong target. I used to swallow my pride for Zhang Qian's sake. Now I'm here to finish them off. "Judge Zhang Yong, how many people are in your live stream right now?" I asked out of nowhere. Zhang Yong froze for a second. He smugly shoved the screen into my face. "Over 3,000 people. Everyone is watching. Let's see how you try to lie your way out of this." Good. I nodded and pulled my phone out of my pocket. Since everyone is watching, I'll give them something even clearer to look at. I dialed the police right in front of them and put it on speaker. Hello, I'd like to report a crime. Someone is committing extortion in a residential garage. The amount involved is massive. They're also live streaming the whole thing to harass me. I have full audio and video evidence. Yes, please get here as soon as possible. I hung up. All four of them were completely stunned. Zhang Qian started screaming, "Why the hell did you call the police? You owe me this. You're the one spreading those disgusting lies." I let out a cold laugh and turned to face Zhang Yong's camera. I spoke clearly and firmly to everyone watching this drama. Let me clarify a few points. First, Zhang Qian was fired because she had a long-term affair with a married vice president named Wang Peng. She was trading sex for favors at the company. I've already sent the evidence. To every single employee, shut up, you're lying. Zhang Qian lunged at me like a maniac to grab my phone, but I shoved her aside. She stumbled back into her mother's arms. I kept talking to the camera. Second, the claim that those videos were AI face swaps is total nonsense. That's real footage. Some of it even came from hotel security cameras to prove it's authentic. I've already had to notarize all the original files. If Miss Zhang insists they are fake, she's more than welcome to sue me. Third, I glared at Zhang Shu's father, who was trying to hide his face. Your family came here today to demand $1 million as a so-called breakup fee. In reality, it's extortion. You want that $1 million to bail out your precious son, to cover the debt he took for a house down payment. Oh, and I heard Zhang Yong lost a fortune gambling on sports recently too. You're full of it. Zhang Yong panicked. He didn't even dare to keep the live stream going. He tried to shut it off, but the comments were already exploding. The tide had turned. This guy is actually making sense, and he's the one who called the cops. Seems legit. That girl's family looks like a bunch of total thugs. Seeing things fall apart, Zhang Shu's mother pulled out her ultimate stunt. She scrambled off the ground and lunged headfirst toward my car. I don't want to live. He's bullying us. The rich are stepping all over the poor. Of course, she didn't actually hit it. She just collapsed the second she touched the bumper. She clutched her head, wailing in fake pain. I'd already anticipated this. I turned and pointed above us. See that thing with the flashing red light? That's a high-definition panoramic camera. Ma'am, that fake fall just now was so dramatic, it's a shame you aren't a professional soccer player. Also, I never turned the car off. The dash cam is recording everything. Right then, the piercing sound of sirens filled the air. Facing the police, the entire Zhang family instantly crumbled. Zhang Yong tried to hide his phone, but the officer barked at him to stop. Who called the police? What's going on here? I stepped forward, looking perfectly calm. Officer, I'm the one who called. These people cornered me in public, harassed me, and used slanderous rumors to extort $1 million in cash. I have a full recording plus the video evidence. He just left on his live streaming platform. Follow us back to the station to give a statement. Back at the station, that family's story completely fell apart, faced with my recording. And the live stream replay Zhang Yong didn't have time to delete. They couldn't deny the fact that they demanded $1 million, even though they didn't get the money. And the police initially classified it as a civil disturbance because it stemmed from a relationship dispute. It was still enough to teach them a lesson they'd never forget. Zhang Shu's mother was detained for 5 days. For making a scene at the station, Zhang Yong was also detained for 7 days for spreading rumors and disturbing the peace. And his account was permanently banned by the platform. It was already midnight at the station. Zhang Shu and her father were standing by the entrance looking absolutely pathetic. Watching me get into my car, Zhang Shu rushed over and started pounding on my window. Xiaochen, do you really have to be this ruthless? We were together for 8 years. Don't you care about our past at all? She sobbed, her voice cracking. I rolled down the window just a crack. Zhang Shi, from the moment you decided to be Wang Peng's little plaything. From the moment you cheated on me and started plotting with your family to screw me over. Whatever we had was dead. And trust me, your karma is just getting started. With that, I rolled up the window and slammed on the gas, leaving them in the dust. I wasn't just bluffing about her karma. Wang Peng's wife and I might not be friends, but we share a common enemy. And let me tell you, that woman is a real force of nature. After she made sure Wang Peng left the marriage with nothing, she had no intention of letting the homewrecker off the hook. The very day after Jiangshu's mother and brother were released from detention, the loan shark Jiang Yong borrowed money from showed up at their door. It turns out that to scrape together the down payment, Zhang Yong hadn't just borrowed cash. He was stupid enough to use his parents' retirement fund as collateral. Now that the house deal fell through, they lost half the deposit for breaking the contract. Jong Young took the remaining money and tried to gamble it back, but he ended up losing every last cent. The debt collector showed up with a few thugs and blocked their front door. Jingshu's father was so livid his blood pressure spiked right then and there, and he had to be rushed to the hospital. As for Jingshu, all of her old colleagues' friends and even her so-called socialite circle blocked her. After all, nobody wants to be associated with a homewrecker who's been caught red-handed, trying to extort someone on a viral live stream. Whenever she applied for a job, the moment they ran her ID, any decent company doing a background check would immediately show her the door. 2 weeks later, I ran into Jingshu at a high-end restaurant. It wasn't a chance encounter, I was there to eat. And she was working as a waitress. It was a trendy spot right in the middle of downtown. As Jingshu walked over in her server uniform, her hands were visibly shaking. The arrogant better-than-thou attitude she used to have was gone. It was replaced by a look of deep exhaustion and pure desperation. The second she saw me, she froze and the soup on her tray nearly spilled over. Well, if it isn't Jingshu. A friend of mine recognized him. He asked why he wasn't an HR assistant anymore and if he'd switched careers just to see how the other half lives. Jingshu kept his head down his face, turning a deep bruised purple. He bit his lip hard, not daring to say a word. Waiter, pour the wine. I spoke flatly without even glancing at him. His hands shook as he picked up the decanter to pour my wine. Maybe it was nerves, or maybe it was pure humiliation. His hands were trembling so violently that a few drops of red wine splashed onto my cuff. I'm so sorry. He scrambled for a napkin to wipe it off, his eyes wide with terror. He wasn't afraid of me. He was afraid of losing the only job that put food on his table. He's currently carrying his younger brother's debts. On top of that, he has to support his paralyzed father and his unemployed mother. Every single cent is a literal lifesaver for him. The floor manager rushed over immediately and started tearing into Jingshu. What is wrong with you? Why are you so clumsy? If this guest files a complaint, don't even think about getting paid today. Jingshu kept his head bowed, heavy tears streaming down his face. I'm sorry, manager, I didn't mean to. Please, I'm begging you, don't dock my pay. The manager turned to me with a forced smile. Sir, I am incredibly sorry. This is just a new temp who doesn't know the ropes yet. I'll get someone else over here for you right away. This bottle is on the house. I just waved him off, looking at how pathetic Jingshu had become. Any last bit of emotion I had for him completely vanished. He looked utterly devastated under that kind of gaze. His former pride meant absolutely nothing in the face of reality. I didn't say anything else, I just sat there quietly watching him silently clean up the mess. He shouldn't have been in a place like this to begin with. Poverty had stripped him of the right to choose. He even had to hide in a corner just to cry. Laughter filled the private room once again, and he had already slipped away without a sound. Life goes on, and no one was going to stop him. I knew we belonged to two different worlds now. Compassion in this circle was just an unnecessary luxury. It wasn't until 3 months later that I heard from a friend by chance. Jingshu had quit shortly after that day. Someone saw him at a nightclub later on, but he wasn't there working as a host. He was working as a janitor for whatever pittance he could get. And his brother Jong Yong had his leg broken because he was dodging debts. Now, the whole family is crammed into a basement on the outskirts of town, spending their days in constant fighting and verbal abuse. As for me, I sold the house I'd originally bought to be our wedding home, and bought a massive riverfront penthouse instead, without those leeches dragging me down. My life finally got back on track 6 months later on a weekend. I was at the mall with my new girlfriend. She's elegant and kind. A university professor, her parents are very real people, and being with her just feels right. As we passed a jewelry store, I saw a familiar back. It was Jong's mother, dressed in tattered clothes, staring longingly through the display window. Her eyes were full of greed and envy. She seemed to be fantasizing that if they hadn't ruined everything, the gold jewelry inside might have actually been hers. She turned and saw me, and my girlfriend, who looked stunning as she held my arm. In that moment, I clearly saw a look of deep, soul-crushing regret in her eyes. Her mouth hung open as if she wanted to call out my name, to rush over and play the victim one more time. But I just gave her a cold, indifferent glance. Then turned to my girlfriend with a smile and said, "Let's go, that necklace you liked earlier, let's go buy it." My girlfriend gave me a happy smile. Really? But it's so expensive, it's fine. Spending money on my future wife is only... This moment was the real ending. When you lose some people, they're gone for a lifetime. And some people simply don't deserve to be happy. As for Jingshu and his billion-dollar dreams, I don't care how much this family's future rots. It's got nothing to do with me anymore. After all, trash belongs in the dumpster, not in my world.